Hello everyone, I'm Sarsulfikar and today I'm going to solve the past papers of ICATS Science Contest for year 2025, grade 5 and 6. Question number 1, Leo's favorite part of science class was the giant cabinet at the back of the room, filled with all sorts of strange and wonderful tools. Today, his teacher, Mr. Abib, had a special challenge. On the counter were four different pieces of glassware. All right, young scientist, Mr. Abib began, his eyes twinkling. Our mission today is to create a fizzing elixir to power our imaginary rocket. But first, you must choose the right vessel for the job. We need something that can hold our liquid ingredients safely and allow us to watch the chemical reaction bubble up. He needed something that could stand upright on its own and hold the vinegar and baking soda for his fizzy reaction. He imagined pouring the ingredients in and watching the bubbles form. Which laboratory tool should Leo select to safely mix his fizzing elixir and watch the reaction? Option A is the evaporating dish, which is wide, shallow, and it's used for evaporation. So it is not good for holding lots of bubbles without spilling. Option B is the tall and narrow container. It can be any container in the science lab, so we cannot select it. Option C is the boiling flask. So a boiling flask can stand upright without a stand and it can handle the pressure which can be created during the experiments as well. So we will select option C here, but let's check the option D. It's the dropper. So a dropper is too small, so we cannot mix ingredients in it. So definitely we are going to choose option C here. Question number 2, Leo loved visiting his grandmother's farm. This weekend, his cousin Sam was there too. On the first morning, as they walked to the barn, Sam stopped suddenly. Listen, Sam said, pointing to the tall metal fence that ran along the back of the property. What's that noise? Leo listened closely. Near the top of the fence posts, a faint but clear buzz hummed in the air. It was coming from the thick power lines that hung just above the fence. I don't know, Leo said, it's always done that. It's like the wires are singing. Their grandma overheard them. Good ears, Sam. She said that humming is the great example of energy changing forms. The power company sends a lot of energy through those wires to all the houses down the road. Based on the story, the buzzing noise from the power lines is an example of dash converting to sound energy. Option A is electrical energy, option B is light energy, option C is energy motion, and option D is none of these. So, according to the story, the buzzing noise comes from the power lines. It means the power lines are carrying electrical energy. And the grandma says it's an example of energy changing forms. So, we can say the electrical energy in the wires is being converted into sound energy, which is creating the buzzing sound. So, we will select option A here. The buzzing noise from the power lines is an example of electrical energy converted to sound energy. Question number 3, Ahmed and his family were camping far from the city lights. As night fell, the sky exploded with stars. Ahmed's dad pointed at the bright, steady light that didn't twinkle like the stars. See that, he said. That's not a star. It looks bright because it's covered in clouds that reflect sunlight and it's our closest planetary neighbor. Ahmed remembered his science lesson, so we are looking at the planet that reflects light from the sun, not producing its own light like a star. Exactly, said his dad. Based on this story, which planet were Ahmed and his dad most likely observing? Option A is Mercury, option B is Venus, option C is Mars, and option D is Jupiter. So let's break down the clues step by step. The first clue is that it's bright, steady light that didn't twinkle like the stars. So planets don't twinkle as much as stars do. Its closest planetary neighbor, Venus or Mars, can be options, but Venus is more closer and brighter than Mars. The third clue is that it's covered in clouds that reflect sunlight. Venus has thick clouds which make it more brighter. So the last clue is that it reflects light from the sun. All planets do, but Venus is the brightest planet in the night sky. That's why we can see it after the sunset or before the sunrise. So we will select option B, Venus here. Ahmed and his dad most likely observing Venus. Question number 4. Ali and his friends Mia were at the post office helping Ali's dad ship a package to his cousin. The package contained a brand new bicycle that had carefully boxed up. The postal worker, Mr. Evans, placed the large box on the large digital scale. Okay, said Mr. Evans, squinting at the screen. The mass comes to 15 kilograms. Ali peered at the computer screen. The form was asking for the mass in grams, and Mr. Evans had typed 15 in the box, but hadn't finished. To help Mr. Evans complete the shipping form correctly, what is the mass of the 15 kg bicycle in grams? Option A is 150 grams, option B is 1500 grams, option C is 15,000 grams, and option D is 150,000 grams. So we know that the 1 kilogram is equal to 1000 grams. So 15 kilograms will be equal to 15,000 grams. So we will select option C over here. The mass of the 15 kg bicycle in grams is 15,000 grams. Question number 5. During a desert field trip, Sam pointed at the tall cactus. Look, it has such thick, waxy skin. Why is it like that? Their guide explained that waxy skin stops the cactus from losing too much water in the hot, dry sun. It's a special feature that helps it survive here. Just then, a camel walked by. Sam noticed the camel's long, thick eyelashes. The guide smiled and said, those aren't just for beauty, they protect its eyes from blowing sand. Like the cactus, the camel has its own special features for the desert. Features like the cactus' waxy skin and the camel's long eyelashes are called adaptations. What is the best definition of an adaptation? Option A is it is the process in which animals change form during its life cycle. Option B is it is the order of changes after the change occurs. Option C, it is a change or behavior in an organism which helps them survive and reproduce. So option C is the correct definition of the adaptation. So we will select option C here. Question number 6. Layla pumped air into a balloon, wondering why it had expanded. Her science teacher had said the air was made of tiny invisible particles zipping around. Layla imagined them as hyperactive bees trapped inside the balloon, constantly flying and bumping into the rubber walls. This pushing from the inside, she realized, was what kept the balloon inflated. The more bees she added by pumping, the more they pushed, and the bigger the balloon grew. What is the primary reason a balloon inflates when you fill it with air? Option A is the air particles are heavy and sink to the bottom. Option B is the air particles are constantly moving and collide with the inside walls. Option C is the air particles are tightly packed together. Option D is the air particles are attracted to the rubber. So the story compares the air particles to bees, like constantly flying and bumping into the rubber walls. The pushing from the inside keeps the balloon inflated. So this is describing the gas pressure due to particles colliding with the container's wall. So here we will select option B. The air particles are constantly moving and collide with the inside wall, which keeps the balloon inflated. Question number 7. Farah visits a museum about ancient Greece. She notices an exhibit with models of wooden catapults that were once used to launch large rocks across battlefields. She wonders what factors affect how far a catapult can launch an object. To explain this, she designs an experiment using the following materials: a wooden catapult with a 10-inch long arm, a wooden catapult with a 5-inch long arm, two identical rubber balls. Using only these supplies, which question can Farwa investigate with an experiment? Option A is does a heavier ball travel farther than the lighter ball when launched from the catapult? She cannot test this question because we can see the list of the materials. The both rubber balls are identical, so there is no lighter or heavier ball. So we cannot select option A here. Option B is does a rubber ball travel farther when launched from a metal catapult or from a wooden catapult? So we can again see the list of the materials. Both catapults are made of wood. There is no metal catapult present. So we will not choose option B as well. Option C is does a catapult with a longer arm launch a rubber ball further than a catapult with a shorter arm? So that can be the question for her experiment, because we know that the arm of the first catapult is 10 inches long and the arm of the second catapult is 5 inches long. So that will be the suitable question for the experiment. Question number 8. During the big game, Ali started the stadium wave. He stood up, raising his arms, and the person next to him did the same. A ripple of motion traveled around the entire stadium. Ali noticed that while the wave traveled all the way around, he just moved up and down in his seat. The wave carried the energy of their excitement, but the people were the medium. Which statement about the stadium wave are true? So the statement 1 is the people are the medium through which the wave travels, which is true. The people are like particles in a medium. Statement 2 is each person moves all the way around the stadium, which is false because each person just moves up and down. The wave moves around. Statement 3 is the wave carries energy. That is also right. The statement 4 is the first person transfers energy to the wave. That is correct because the first person started the motion or energy. So we will select option D here. The statements 1, 3 and 4 are correct. Question number 9. Qasim stared at the steel skyscraper gleaming in the sun. His dad, an engineer, explained that this giant structure, the car they drove, the air they breathed, and even Qasim himself were all built from the same thing. Incredibly tiny, invisible particle called atoms. Qasim was amazed he couldn't see them, but he knew everything had to be made of something. Based on the story and science, which statement is true? Option A is only solid objects are made of atoms, which is not correct because gases like air are also made of atoms and the liquids as well. Option B is atoms are large enough to see with the magnifying glass, which is false because atoms are too small to see with the magnifying glass. Option C is atoms make up every substance around you. That is true because everything is made of atoms. And option D is atoms have no mass, which is incorrect. So we will select option C here. Question number 10. Rehan was the best runner in his class, but lately he felt weak and dizzy. His friend Amjad noticed Rehan often skipped lunch for extra practice. Amjad remembered their science lesson. The body is like a car and food is its fuel. If you put the wrong fuel in the car or not enough, Amjad explained, it breaks down. Your body isn't getting the right things to work properly. What is the best definition of malnutrition? Option A is the mal form of nutrition that our bodies will use for energy. Option B is lack of proper nutrition caused by not having enough to eat, not eating enough of the right things, or being unable to use the food that one does eat. Option C is the type of food we eat when we need more energy. And option D is the way our bodies respond to nutrition and give energy. So option B is the only correct option over here, which is the proper definition of malnutrition. Question number 11. Elena watched the news as meteorologist Dr. Roy pointed at a swirling mass of clouds on his map. We are tracking a dry air mass colliding with warm, moist air, he explained. Combined with strong winds high up, this is the perfect recipe for a tornado. Alina realized Dr. Roy wasn't just describing the weather, he was using clues from the atmosphere to predict danger before it happened. Based on the story, which statements are supported? First statement is meteorologists are scientists who study meteors from space, which is not correct. Meteorologists study weather and atmosphere, not meteors. The second statement is some air masses contain dry air, others contain moist air. So that is true because it is given in the paragraph that dry air mass colliding with warm, moist air. So statement 2 is correct. Statement 3 is scientists can study air masses to predict weather events. That is also correct because Dr. Roy used them to predict a tornado. So we will select option C here. Statements 2nd and 3rd are correct. Question number 12. Yasin is in the playground on a sunny day. During which of the following times will Yasin's shadow be shortest? Option A is before school, 8:30 to 9 a.m. B. Morning break, 10:30 to 10:45 a.m. Option C is lunch break, 12 to 1 p.m. And option D is afternoon break, 2:30 to 2:45 p.m. So the shadows are shortest when the sun is highest in the sky, like around noon. So from the given options, the lunch break 12 to 1 p.m. is closest to noon, so the shadow will be shortest at this time. So we will select option C here. Question number 13. Aslam noticed the tomatoes in his sunny garden were big and red, but the ones in the shady spot were small and green. The tomatoes in the shade didn't grow well because they didn't get enough. Option A, water. Option B, soil. Option C, air. And option D, sunlight. So the plants need sunlight for photosynthesis to grow and produce fruits like tomatoes. So the shady spot tomatoes were small and green because they lacked sunlight, not necessarily water, soil, and air. So we will select option D here. Question number 14. After a hot shower, Rehan couldn't see himself in the bathroom mirror. It was covered in the tiny water droplets. How did the water get on the mirror? Option A is it seeped through the glass. Option B is Rohan splashed water on it. Option C is steam from the shower condensed on it. Option D is it rained in the bathroom. So, a hot shower produces steam, which are water vapors basically. When steam touches the cold mirror, it condenses into the water droplets. So, we will select option C here. The water get on the mirror because the steam from the shower condensed on it. Question number 15. This diagram shows a food chain from Chesapeake Bay, an estuary ecosystem in Maryland and Virginia. So in this food chain, the sea squid is a primary consumer. Why? Option A, it eats a producer. Option B, it makes its own food. Option C, it eats a territorial consumer. Option D, none of these. So here, the food chain is like seagrass is eaten by sea squirt. Then butterfish is eating sea squirt, and weak fish is eating the butterfish. So here, the seagrass is the producer, like it's making its own food via photosynthesis, and sea squirt eats the seagrass. So that's why it's the primary consumer because it eats the producer. So we will select option A here. Question number 16 below is the topographic map of the part of the Shoshone National Forest. It was the first federally protected national forest. The forest contains several high peaks and mountains, glaciers. Select one square that shows land covered by forest. Option A square A1, option B square A4, option C square B3, and option D square C1. So the topographic maps often use colors or pattern to show land cover, like green for forest, blue for water, white or gray for bare rocks or glaciers. So here, if we look at the map, the forests are present in A2, A3, B2, and B3. After that, C2 and C3. So if we look at all our options, there is no forest in A1, A4 and C1. So we will select option C here because the forest is present in the B3, which is at the second row and third column. So we will choose option C here. Question number 17. While making popcorn, Maha wondered why the hard kernels exploded into fluffy white shapes. Her dad said it was because of a tiny drop of water inside each kernel is clearer. What makes the kernel explode? So option A is the heat makes the outside shell soft. Option B is the water inside turns to steam and expands. Option C is the kernel gets too heavy, and option D is the salt added to the pot. So here, as it is given in the paragraph as well, that inside each popcorn kernel there is a small amount of water. When heated, the water turns to steam, which expands and builds pressure until the kernel pops. So that's why we'll select option B here. The kernel explodes because the water inside turns to steam and expands. Question number 18. The passage below describes an experiment. Zoe and Warne were taking a snowboarding class. During the class, their instructor said they would go faster if they applied wax to the undersides of their snowboards. After the class, Zoe applied a thin layer of wax to the underside of the snowboard and rode the board straight down a hill. Then she removed the wax and rode the snowboard straight down the hill again. Duane timed how long each ride took. Zoe repeated these rides on four other snowboards, alternating whether she first rode with or without wax. What is the most likely purpose of Zoe and Duane's experiment? Option A is to determine if wax changes how fast a snowboard goes down a hill. Option B is to test which snowboard is the most expensive. Option C is to learn how to ride a snowboard more safely. And option D is to see if different riders get different speeds on the same hill. So here Zoe tested with wax versus without wax on the same snowboards, timing each ride. That means she is checking if wax affects speed or not. So that's why we will select option A here. They were just checking that if wax changes how fast a snowboard goes down a hill. Question number 19. Salman was going out to play in a snow. He had to choose between a thin windbreaker and a thick puffy coat. Which coat is better for a cold day and why? Option A is windbreaker, it's lighter. Option B is puffy coat, it traps body heat better. Option C is windbreaker, it's waterproof. And option D is puffy coat, it absorbs sunlight. So here a puffy coat has insulations like down or synthetic fill that traps body heat which keeps you warmer in cold weather. So we will select option B. The puffy coat is better because it traps body heat better. Question number 20. Use the following key to identify the type of seaweed given below. So the first question is the seaweed branched? If it is yes, then we will move towards the left side, and if it is no, we will move towards the right side. So here we can see the picture of the seaweed. It is not branched, so we will go towards no. Is the seaweed long and thin? If it is yes, then it's gutweed, and if it is no, it's sea lettuce. So we can see the picture, it is not long and thin. So we will select option D here. The given seaweed is sea lettuce. Question number 21. During fishing, Javed noticed his fishing rod appeared bent where it entered the water. Why did the rod look bent? Option A is the water pushed it. Option B is the light rays bent at the water surface. Option C is his eyes were playing tricks. And option D is the fish were pulling it. So the fishing rod appears bended because the light rays change direction when they pass from water to air. That is called refraction. So that's why we will select option B here. The light rays bent at the water surface. That's why rod looked bended. Question number 22. When Sarah lost her compass, her grandfather showed her how to magnetize a needle by rubbing it with a magnet. He then floated the needle on a leaf in a bowl of water and it pointed north. The needle pointed north because option A is the earth is like a big magnet. Option B is the water made it spin. Option C is the wind turned it. And option D is the leaf always floats north. So the needle became a magnet and aligned with the earth's magnetic field, which is why it pointed north. So we will select option A here. The earth is like a big magnet. So that's why the needle just aligned with the earth's magnetic field. Question number 23. On a school trip, Asif yelled hello into a deep canyon. And a moment later, he heard hello came back to him. What caused the sound to return? Option A is another person answering. Option B is the wind blowing his voice. Option C is his voice bouncing off the far canyon wall. And option D is his imagination. So when Asif yelled hello into the canyon, the sound waves traveled through the air and hit the far wall of the canyon. Because the canyon wall is a large, hard surface, it reflected the sound waves back towards Asif instead of absorbing them. So this reflected sound is called an echo. and it reached his ears a moment later because sound takes time to travel to the wall and coming back. So we will select option C here. 24, Jill and her dog Sparky are stopped while on a walk. Sparky sees a squirrel and tugs on his leash. Think about two of the forces that act on the leash. As Jill pulls on the leash, what is the direction of the opposing force? Option A backward, option B forward, option C is both A and B, and option D is none of these. So when Jill pulls backward on the leash, the Sparky pulls forward on the leash. These are two equal and opposite forces acting on the leash, one backward and the other one is forward. So the opposing force directions are both backward and forward, so we will select option C here. Question number 25. There is a melted rock below Earth's surface. This melted rock is called magma. The red parts of this drawing show magma. Magma can reach Earth's surface through a volcano. When magma comes out of a volcano, it is called lava. Which sentence is true? Option A is magma is a liquid but lava is a solid, which is not correct because both magma and lava are molten like liquid rock. Lava solidifies into rocks later. Option B is magma and lava are two kinds of volcanoes, which is incorrect because magma and lava are molten rocks, not types of volcanoes. Option C is magma is found below Earth's surface and lava is found on the surface. So this is the correct option because magma is underground. When it erupts onto the surface, it is called lava. So we will select option C here. Question number 26. Ali moves the drumstick downwards to hit the drum skin. Then the drumstick bounces back up. What force causes the drumstick to bounce up after it has hit the drum skin? Option A is a pushing force from the drum skin. Option B is a pulling force from the drum skin. Option C is a pushing force from gravity, and option D is a pulling force from gravity. When the drumstick hits the skin pushes back upwards on the stick. This is the reaction force, which is the Newton's third law as well. So it's a pushing force from the drum skin. So we will select option A here. Question number 27. What information supports the conclusion that Colin acquired the following trait? Colin can ride a bicycle. So the statement 1 is Colin rides his bicycle to school. It does not tell that how he acquired or learned that skill. The statement 2 is Colin and his mother both ride bicycles. And the point 3 is the Colin's friend showed him how to ride a bicycle. In the statement 3, it is clearly mentioned that how he acquired the following trait, like how he learned the skill of riding a bicycle. So we will select option C here, the statement 3. Question number 28. What do these two changes have in common? Breaking a ceramic plate, an iceberg melting slowly. Select all that apply. Point 1 is both are caused by cooling, which is not right because melting is caused by heating, but breaking is not necessarily by cooling. Second point is both are caused by heating, which is incorrect because breaking is not caused by heating. Then point 3 is both are chemical changes, which is not correct because both are physical changes. And the fourth point is both are only physical changes. So this is our correct point. So we will select option D here. Question number 29. After sliding down a plastic slide, Alina reached for the metal railing and felt a small zap. What caused the zap? Option A is the metal was hot. Option B is electricity built up on her body. Option C is the railing was wet. And option D is a small insect bit her. So when Alina slid down the plastic slide, friction caused her body to build up static electrical charge. So when she touched the metal railing, the charge discharged quickly, which caused a small zap. So we will select option B here. The electricity built up on her body. That's why she felt the small zap. Question number 30. On a sunny day, Sam's ice cream started dripping down his cone much faster than his friend's ice cream in the shade. Why did Sam's ice cream melt faster? Option A is the cone was weaker. Option B is it had more air. Option C is it absorbed more heat from the sun, and option D is it had the different flavors. So melting is a physical change that occurs when a substance gains enough heat energy to change from solid to liquid. Sam's ice cream was in direct sunlight, so it absorbed more heat energy from the sun, which caused it to melt much faster than his friend's ice cream, who was in the shade. So we will select option C here. It absorbed more heat from the sun. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe my channel.